I wrote a little introduction.
Okay, sounds good.
So, this is episode 1 of the Patient Artist podcast. I am Matthew Getska, also known as the Patient Artist. My guest today is Chelsea Skye, also known as LunarLilt, Sea Skye, and the Earthy Artivist. Did I miss any?
Nope, that's pretty. I think that's it. Yeah, I
Okay.
had a lot before, but that's it now.
So, you are a multi-dimensional artist based in Alberta, Canada, and your work ranges from paintings to poetry, digital design to wood burning, and I feel like a reductionist to just put it into those categories because your work is so much more than what can be categorized.
Thank you. That
Yeah.
means a lot.
Well, it's emotional and it's like I'm looking at it right now. It's serene and it's peaceful, it's beautiful, it's soft and gentle and it
Thank
flows.
you. Thank you. Yeah, and it's always been a struggle for me to categorize myself. So it's kind of cool to know that comes through in my art because that's always been a huge struggle.
Yeah, it really can be difficult to put ourselves into these, like narrow it down to just words because really we
Mhm.
are it all, everything, and we're just like an embodiment of every single emotion. So it can get really hard to describe.
Mhm. And it seems like the world is trying to do that. The world is often trying to categorize us, and I think also one way that art heals is that it doesn't need that categorization. It can take that away. It doesn't always. I mean, it does in certain circles, but you don't have to follow those, and it can be freeing.
Yeah, I think it's an automatic thing that we do is to like place words to things instead of just feel them because that's how we're taught and that's kind of how the world operates around us. And
Mhm.
judgment is automatic and it's not good or bad. It's something that
Mhm.
like we have to. It's unavoidable in a way, and it can protect us, and it can definitely be good, and it can also be harmful, but so I would like to ask, because I don't want to make an assumption, are you
Mhm.
a full-time artist?
Yes, I am. Since 2019, I've been full time.
Wow, 2 years then.
Hmm.
How does it feel?
It feels good. It so for the first bit when I started out, it was of course like so exciting, and every time I got someone contacting me to like be a client or something like that, I was like always just so surprised. And um, yeah, it can get like that poem you read earlier. It really can get isolating because I'm working from home all the time, and I know with everything that's going on in the world, lots of people feel this. But it feels really, really good to know that my art and my passion is what's supporting me ultimately. So in
Absolutely.
the end, I wouldn't ever choose a different way because I don't think I could. I don't feel like I could go back to the kind of jobs I used to work. I just, knowing now what's possible, I just don't think I could.
So I don't know a lot of your story, and I was wondering if you can maybe talk a little bit about like what were you doing before you became full time with your artwork, as far as like what kind of job that you might have been working, or
Yeah, for sure. So, um, well, when I got out of high school, the initial push is to, of course, like choose one of the degrees and go to school. And I think I took a year off after high school, and then I went into school and thinking, okay, I need a degree. This is the way life has to go, and this is my only option. And I started out thinking I would go into social work because I really enjoyed helping people and working with people and just talking to people. And so I went into this program that allows you to do 2 years of kind of like any degree, and then you upgrade into the social work bachelor's. And so I started out in philosophy, actually, and that was really cool because I got a lot of philosophy courses in, and that was interesting. But then I ended up switching over to sociology because I thought it was closer to social work and more applicable. And then I switched over to education and English in a combined degree because I like writing and
Oh,
I like teaching and I like kids. And
yes.
so each semester I was switching my major. And then I kind of realized, and I was really, as I was working and doing the work in university and doing all these things, I was getting really sad and really, like, I just did not want to be doing it. And it felt like I was forcing myself. And so I decided to leave and just figure out what I actually wanted to do instead of, we spend all this money not actually maybe knowing exactly what it is we want to be doing with our lives. And so I left and I ended up working with kids. And these were kids from kindergarten age to grade 6.
Okay.
And I really enjoyed it, so I ended up going to school for early learning, and I got my diploma in early learning. And I worked with a lot of kids with special needs, and that was really, really fulfilling to make these relationships with kids and just support them. And they're just, if I had to do any other job other than art, it would be working with kids, and it would be building those relationships because they're the most fulfilling, magical. They're just awesome. I really miss kids at the moment.
Oh.
But yeah, I'm like, I need to, maybe I will go do a part-time just for volunteer or something. But so then I ended up going from just regular early learning to forest school, and I got a certification to be a forest school teacher because I really was like, I want to bring kids into nature and do art and all these cool things with them. And I actually worked in a forest school for 6 months, and I was supporting 2 children with special needs, and it was awesome. But when they asked me to come back full-time, I had already kind of started art part-time, and I kind of had a choice and a crossroads, and it ended up, I ended up choosing art, and I left, and that was, I just had to put my faith in art in that moment, and from then on, it's been full-time. And like I say, I've always been just kind of surprised, I'm like, what, this can be a thing? Like, I didn't know. Nobody tells you that you can just be an artist. When I was in high school, nobody was like, hey, so do you want to go into, art?
Right.
That's not really an option people put out.
It's not really modeled either in a huge way. Like, we see musicians who are also artists, but if you're not into music, then writers aren't really celebrities and painters aren't really celebrities for the most part. So it's not like at the forefront of society. We don't see it modeled for us, that unless maybe you would know somebody personally who's taken that path. But most people that I've actually known who are artists are also having a full-time job, at a company to support their artwork instead of being supported through their artwork. So
yeah,
that's another reason why I'm so glad that we've actually got to meet, because you are modeling for me a direction that I want to head down.
Yeah, I'm so glad. And I've had a lot of people contact me, and they want advice and things, and it's hard for me because I'm like, honestly, I don't know how. But I think also a lot it's really encouraging with how the world connects over social media now. It's making it so open for artists. There's, the gatekeeping is not as prevalent anymore. You don't have to get into a gallery, and you don't, for me anyways, I'm super introverted. I'm super I want to be home by myself a lot of the time.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm not into schmoozing and going into a gallery and that's not for me. And I think maybe there's a lot of other artists who are similar, and social media really gives them the bridge to connect.
Yeah, how lucky we are that we live in this time, in this place, that we can use this tool. Like, I tell myself that if I have the internet then I have no excuse. Like, that
Yeah.
definitely is the bridge that can connect me to any destination,
Yeah.
to any person, to any idea. It's all available right here in front of me, which unparalleled. So lucky.
Yeah.
That was actually one of the questions you just brought up that I was gonna ask was if you identify more with the term introverted or extroverted.
Yeah.
So you said you are introverted, and
Yeah.
I would also be more closely aligned to that. Like some extrovert, why is that word so hard? Extroverted tendencies, but
Yeah.
mostly I would prefer to spend a good amount of time to myself, creating, be in my zone, in my space. And
Yeah.
for people like us, it can be hard to sometimes create that space because you still have friends, family, and they want to see you, you want to see them. And when you don't have a boss and you have to create your own schedule, uh,
Hmm.
it can be hard to like set up the boundaries of okay, when am I working, what times am I setting aside to be like creative, and then having to turn down like offers and plans can be difficult when you're not going to get in trouble with like a boss or anybody except for maybe yourself falling a little behind. um,
Yeah.
how do you do that? How have you created a schedule for yourself that allows you to
Well,
be a full-time artist?
well, it's a work in progress because I tend, like I say, like I do tend to hermit away and be an introvert and be like just spend all my time working. That's my tendency. And not necessarily like, so I noticed at the very beginning of when I started going full time, the focus was on working, but it was on working and creating art. So like the art was the work. And as my business grew, it became a lot of the other things like emails and client communication and website design. Like I do everything myself other than my accounting. I've hired an accountant, thank God,
Okay.
for my taxes and things. But everything else I do myself. So it's a work in progress. And currently, what I'm doing is I have a daily ideal schedule, or for my weekdays versus my weekends. And I try to break my days up into three portions. And, I'm working on this. It's been really hard for me to do. I still haven't succeeded at a full day of this because usually I end up just working through the day. But my plan usually is I get up at 7 a.m. and then I do the business work for 5 hours.
You just jump straight into it.
Yeah, because I find my brain is just like, you need to get this done, and that's what I want to do.
Hmm.
I have it written down that what I want to do is, wake. So this is what I actually wrote. So I said, wake early, connect with self, and nourish self. And then I gave myself a bunch of ideas to do so, kind of like yoga or rituals or, just have tea. And, so that's my ideal. My ideal is that I'll wake up and do little rituals to just have that morning routine and then jump into work. But usually what happens is I jump into work.
Yeah.
um, but then I switch over at 12, so 5 hours later, to I want to switch off my phone at that point, switch off technology, and create art. And that's the work I do for the next 5 hours.